Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here with Chaos today, going to be taking on the Proud Dawi. This is one of these playoff games, the semifinals, if you will, or I guess the quarterfinals of Shadow's YouTuber tournament. So now that we're past the group stage, we're on to the playoff, and I'm going to be taking on TzuDevil. Of course, I'll have a link down to his channel in the description. And yeah, he's primarily a Dwarf player, plays a lot of Dwarf campaigns and so on from what I've seen. So yeah, he's going to be taking his clan Angrand up against the forces of Chaos today. Let's go to the army compositions. Sarthrael the Everwatcher, Big Bird himself here, going to be taking just Final Transmutation for that area of effect direct damage. We've also got 4 units of a Marauder Horseman with throwing axes, a couple of poison, or not poison warhounds, just the regular warhounds to make them a little bit cheaper. For infantry, we've got 4 units of Chaos Marauders with great weapons, with 2 Chosen with great weapons. These guys are going to be a lot for the Dawi to deal with. And then for artillery, we've got 2 units of Hell Cannons. So let's go ahead and look at the Dwarf army here. He's got 2 Gyrocopters and a very heavy infantry force with 4 units of hammerers, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 4 units of Longbeards with great weapons, potentially 5 with the Grumbling Guard. Yep, that's 5 units of Longbeards with great weapons. He's also got a Rune Lord and a Rune Smith, so a very heavy Dawi infantry force. And at this point, he's probably wishing he had brought some cannons to be able to return fire and counter artillery these Hell Cannons here, because the Hell Cannons will do a lot of damage to this elite tier Dwarf infantry. We'll watch as some of these kind of foul bolts. I don't even know what those are made out of, like the souls of the people who have been killed by Chaos. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, these nasty bolts of blue something, blue and purple, whatever, are going to come in here, and ooh, especially when they make direct contact like that, you can see some of these guys just got absolutely vaporized, leaving Big Bird out front, as there's not a lot that can pin him down in here. We're just going to kind of use him to bog up the approach a little bit. And obviously he will take quite a bit of damage if he just stays in combat with the hammers, but I'll be able to pull him out whenever I need to. Meanwhile, this unit of Longbeards with great weapons has taken a ton of damage from these Marauders with throwing axes. You can see them advancing across the river here, just not able to get in contact with the Marauder Horsemen. Obviously they're much faster, so we're going to pull around these infantry Marauders here with their great weapons to intercept, and then immediately rear charge with the Hounds, so we should be able to rout that unit off. Meanwhile, over on this side, you can see the Marauder Horsemen just kind of posting up behind. Big Bird's forced a nice blob here so that we can shoot in with the Hell Cannon and then bring in the infantry second. We're going to go ahead and drop a Final Transmutation. Even though there's no characters in this pocket, I just wanted to drain out all the units possible here. I'm not sure if the Rune Lord actually brought the Locus of Power ability. It does look like he did. So that's not going to be super efficient, just because all the Dawi are going to have pretty sizable magic resistance, but still, I figured it would be good to try and get that in there. Meanwhile, over on this other side, you can see Longbeards with great weapons have been shattered. Meanwhile, though, this other unit doing a good job working through these Marauders. That being said, the Chosen with great weapons will do well, even against the Hammerers and some of the more elite infantry here. You can see these poor Longbeards getting singled out here a little bit. Kind of an awkward engagement taking place there. I mean, obviously the Chaos Marauders will just get pounded by Hammerers. But in other situations here, Chosen fighting with the support of Big Bird are going to do very well here. Hammerers are not actually immune to psychology, not like Longbeards with great weapons. So Longbeards do have that advantage. So although the Hammerers, it'll be tough to terror out them just because they have very high base leadership, they still will be able to be terrified here. If we get their leadership low enough, you can see the Chosen currently holding out very well, taking a little bit of friendly fire, but at the end of the day, it's okay. They're definitely holding their place there. Longbeards with great weapons, losing out to Marauders with the support of the throwing axes, of course. Normally they would take them to Pound Town pretty hard, but the Hounds just being used to chase down anytime units get routing. This other unit, unfortunately, was sent to chase down these hammers while they were routing, and then they rallied before they got there, so they got beat up pretty bad. But the throwing axes, you can see, taking down a Gyrocopter. Obviously, the armor piercing from the throwing axes will be able to do quite a bit of damage to the armor of the Gyrocopters there. So they're going to be flying off, and a Big Bird punching through to the second line, getting to the Rune Lord. Obviously, Big Bird with his magic attacks is going to do very little against the Rune Lord. This is mostly just to tie him in place and, you know, potentially force a tear route here. I now come back with the charge bonus active, and a rear shot there from the Hell Cannon gets these hammers low enough to be terrified away. And now this leaves the Chosen in a position to take down the Rune Lord. Over here on this side, you can see Grumbling Guard just being finished off by that unit of Chosen there. And this other unit of hammers is being taken down by the combined might of the throwing axes and the Hell Cannons there. So not too often you see a Chaos missile build pay off versus the dwarfs here, but that's definitely what happened this time. I mean, this Rune Lord, despite him being a very valiant lord here, trying to cast that Rune of Wrath and Ruin to finish off these Chosen here, there's just too much at this point. Most of his other forces are shattered. It's just kind of some heroic units hanging around, as well as some regrouped Longbeards with great weapons here. But yeah, we're going to pull in the other unit of Chosen as well, just to finish off the Rune Lord. So we'll grab some more cinematic action. As you can see, the gyrocopters chilling in there. Big Bird's going to come in here. These are not the brimstone guns, interestingly enough, just the regular old gyrocopters. And oh man, look at that shot. Just nailed him directly with the Hell Cannon. And another direct hit actually takes down a gyrocopter with the Hell Cannon there. So some very accurate fire from those Hell Cannon crews. Definitely pretty admirable. But at the end of the day, army losses are going to kick in just as another gyrocopter gets hit. Oh man, those Hell Cannon crews definitely got some training. But very well played to TzuDevil at the end of the day. The Forces of Chaos just proving a little bit too much there. And honestly, if he had brought a couple cannons, the Dwarf cannons will easily outtrade the Hell Cannons, because they can blow up the unit model relatively easily. And I would have been forced to approach. He could have then had some more missile units, or even like the Peak Gate Guard. I think they'll beat Chosen with Great Weapons. I'd need to test that one-on-one. I think they're probably the only Dwarf infantry that could beat Chosen with Great Weapons, but you probably want to just try and tie him down and shoot him with Thunderers or other armor-piercing missiles. But at the end of the day, still a very fun battle. In terms of the breakdown here, 92 and 113 on these Chosen, and considering we're up against an elite Dawi army, I mean, we're pretty much just fighting Longbeards with Great Weapons and Hammerers. Very impressive kill total, all things considered. 57 on these Chaos Marauders as well, and an XP Chevron. Very, very well for themselves. Very cost effective. I'm normally not the biggest fan of the Chaos Marauders, and if the Dwarf player brings a lot of skirmishers, these guys are a huge liability because they're super squishy to skirmishers, but they can get a lot of work done in the right scenario. You can see most of them got taken out relatively easily, but the 57 kills, very nice. Marauder Horseman also getting some nice kills across the board. 38 on this Hell Cannon and 2 XP Chevrons, pretty good for TzuDevil. A lot of his stuff didn't really end up paying off. I mean, some of these hammers got some decent kill numbers, but that was mostly against the Marauders. And yeah, just really kind of forced into the hot gates there by Chaos. So, I mean, obviously, in the Dwarf player's position, in TzuDevil's position, like I said, if he were to have taken some cannons and just a few missile units, maybe he could have potentially taken that differently. So, I mean, I definitely like the core of the Rune Lord, because you're probably going to see Final Transmutation or Spirit Leech there, so the magic resistance is pretty nice to have. So if we go to Angrand here, so we'll grab the Rune Lord and the Locus of Power. You probably, Rune of Hearth and Home might be nice if you're running with a Hammerer build, because Hammerers, again, are not immune to Psychology. The Peak Gate Guard are, but the basic Hammerers are not. But we're going to go ahead and cut that one for now. Forge Fire, maybe we'll hang on to that one. Master Rune of Oath and Steel is usually unnecessary, because people are going to be taking armor piercing against you anyway. Missile resistance potentially, but I like the Rune of Negation. It is a potential pick as well. If you want to make them a little bit cheaper, you'll cut it, but Rune of Wrath and Ruin, definitely want to take that. And then the other Runesmith here, we'll go ahead and just have him have the Rune of Wrath and Ruin to make him nice and cheap. So the Peak Gate Guard, these guys are immune to Psychology, and if we compare their stats to Chosen with Great Weapons here, just for curiosity's sake. So Chosen with Great Weapons, actually a little bit worse overall in terms of their combat stats and weapon damage. They have a little bit more charge bonus and more armor, but not the magic attacks, no immunity to Psychology, and of course Peak Gate Guard also have armor sundering as well. So I do like the pick of the Peak Gate Guard here. Maybe bringing the Longbeards with Great Weapons are super solid here, so we'll go with the line of them as well. And then I'll probably go ahead and upgrade the Brimstone guns, just because they have armor piercing and they're good against large targets. So that'll give you a nice option there. And then potentially you bring some Thunderers, maybe a couple units of Slayers as well, just to help take down things like Big Bird and so on. This army is a little bit expensive, not very wide, so personally I like to go really wide, so I'm going to grab a few miners with blasting charges as well. The blasting charges will easily clear out the light units like these Marauders with great weapons. And then they have the armor piercing. Although they don't have the best weapon damage, if they get like a rear attack on an armored unit, they can do a little bit of damage. It's not the most. They have very poor weapon skill, so to speak. But yeah, I do like my opponent's build overall, but still, at the end of the day, the Forces of Chaos just proving a little bit too much. I mean, obviously it's trying to guess what your opponent can bring. So yeah, very well played to TzuDevil though. Like I said, I'll have a link to his channel in the description below. If you guys want to check out some of the other games from the tournament, be sure to check out Shadow Online Gaming as well. He's the tournament organizer. He's going to be showing all the games on his channel, so I'll also have a link to that down in the description. Big thanks to everyone involved. Thank you, most of all, for watching, and we'll see you next time.